Welcome back to the Travsessed podcast. We're your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We are healthcare travelers and the creators of Travsessed. Travsessed provides on-the-clock, off-the-clock resources for healthcare travelers. On the clock being our amazing course, Traveler School, and off the clock being Travsessed Adventures, which we are gearing up to launch Patagonia 2024. It is going to be an epic trip. It is one of our favorite trips in our portfolio of trips throughout the year. So we will talk more about that in the show. And without further ado, here we go. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
To the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You're my guest.
Welcome. Before we jumped in, I wanted to say just at the top that we are officially launching Travsessed Patagonia.
Whoop.
This Sunday, so Sunday 11/19. So if you're listening to this beforehand, then you're in the know. If it's afterwards, then you missed the boat. But we're doing a live launch party on 11/19 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we like to do release the trips with a fun live launch. So we go on Zoom, we break the trip down, we share the itinerary, we go over the cost, what's included, what to expect.
Answer any questions.
Yeah, it's fun. We're not just sitting there talking. We have a whole presentation, and it's just a really fun time. And so we are going to send out that link for people to come join us live to everybody on the interest list, our trip interest list. So make sure to join that if you haven't already. You can do that at imtravsessed.com under the adventure tab. And I'm really excited about it. We'll do the launch party, and then we're going to open this baby up for people to sign up and reserve their spots on Sunday. So
you get a little sneak peek, but the trip dates are 4/2 to 4/9. Right?
Yep.
7 days?
8 days.
Oh,
yeah.
And then, that's where we're at.
Yeah. So come hang out with us, and spots are limited, so
they fill up quick.
Yes, and we're excited to go back to Patagonia, and I feel like we've been talking about this trip for so long, and we finally locked in the dates, and we are ready to freaking go. So come hang out with us Sunday. We'll see you there. All right, let's do this.
Please prepare for departure.
Okay, so it's Thursday night. Last weekend, Monday, was our anniversary, our 13-year anniversary, which is crazy. And it was on November 13th. So we thought it was a big year because 13's been our unofficial lucky number.
It is our lucky number.
Right, but our numbers are 3 and 7. And so, but 13 was just how we've been...
all important things happen.
Life things happened on the 13th. And so it was kind of one of those weird numbers that just kind of we were inherited as our lucky number.
Yeah, we got engaged, we bought our house, we got married.
We closed on our house, we got married.
Yeah. Is that it? Were there any more 13s?
No.
Well, it's funny because this year is our 13th anniversary, right? What?
I've said 13 16 times.
I know, but I was just going to say something, to reiterate it. So, not to reiterate it, but to build upon it, that this was a big year for us because we're it's lucky 13. This is the biggest one yet. We're so excited. And so we had all these plans. I really wanted to go to Italy for our 13th wedding anniversary.
We've played with Airplane Beach. Then we were talking about being in Costa Rica.
So many things. Mm-hmm. So many things. This is going to be a good one. And usually we plan every other year. I'll plan one, Aaron will plan one, I'll plan one,
But we've also
Aaron
realized that we
one.
haven't done that for years.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is we used to do that, but then we were going over okay, let's take a walk down memory lane and let's go over the first year and the second year. And then we realized after year 5, we kind of had stopped planning every other. So we're what happened? We have, but it hasn't been as big or as elaborate. But
what did we do for 10?
We couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when I had COVID. And we were in St. Louis.
That's right.
And I had COVID, and we were supposed to go stay in Arkansas.
Oh yeah, the Ozarks.
I'm just kidding. I know you don't say it like that. Yeah, we were gonna go camping and then, or stay in a cabin, and then I ended up getting COVID. And you made me like a truffle steak and garlic mash and our favorite wine. And I remember sitting at the table. We were home, so we couldn't go anywhere. And I was crying because I had lost my sense of taste, and I couldn't even taste the meal that you made. And I was like, am I ever gonna get it back?
That's right.
And that was like an epic fail.
And I remember saying that we'll make it up for on the 13th.
Yeah. So now here we are on our 13th, and it's funny because all those things that we had, all these like great ambitions of what we were going to do, and we ended up in West freaking Virginia. And absolutely the last place I would have thought we would have spent our 13th wedding anniversary. But we're here for a good cause. We're, you know,
good cause.
A good cause. We're building our future, baby.
It's a charitable event.
Yeah. But it's funny because we were like, okay, what do we want to do? Because honestly, like, we've done some really cool things for our anniversaries, but the main through line of what we've always tried to do is like something different that we haven't done and together. So that's going somewhere new or trying something new. And honestly, it's just about really being together, like hanging out together and making it a priority to focus on the relationship.
Yeah. And so with that theme, we were like, okay, we've never lived in West Virginia before. Is there anywhere around here that we would want to go? And so we were like trying to pinpoint, like, is it cabin vibes? Is it, you know, resort vibes? Is it beach vibes? Like, what are we looking for? And funny story, I'm going to put Kim on blast here.
What?
We're going through and we're like looking at cities that are drivable. So we were like, okay, like the beach is too far. Like, we don't want to drive that far. Come to find out, at this point, I didn't know that I had Monday off, but I ended up switching with somebody who needed tomorrow off, Friday. And so I ended up having our anniversary off, which I would have had a long weekend.
4 days.
But because of that, I didn't know that. So we were trying to plan. So we're sitting here in the apartment and we're looking up stuff and we're like, oh, Louisville, Kentucky, that could be cool. And so Kim's going through like things to do in Louisville, and she says we could go to Colonial Sanders' house. And then literally just kind of flew past it. And I'm like, yeah, like that sounds good. Like, do you know who that is? And she like didn't say anything. And then I'm like,
no, really... I knew it was KFC.
You knew that?
I knew it was KFC. I knew it was the gray-haired man. I just didn't know that you...
You're giving away my punchline.
Go. Okay.
So basically now I guess she knew, but to me it didn't seem like she knew. So I just thought she thought it was just some random colonial guy named Sanders, right? And his house, and why is that specific, and why would we go there? And I was like, you know, that's Colonel Sanders, right? Which led us down this complete rabbit hole. First, I just like died laughing. But she is right. Like Colonel, right? That's how you spell colonel, which is crazy because in the English language, we also have Kernal, which is like a popcorn kernel. But you call a colonel in the military colonel. But so we ended up getting on a deep conversation about that. But I thought that was absolutely hilarious that she said we can go to Colonial Sanders' house.
Well, because I was like looking at the highlights, and I think I knew that it was.
No, because I said it.
Did I not?
I said the KFC guy, and you were like, "That is not Colonel Sanders. That's not how you say. That's not how you spell colonel."
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. But
okay, so you just blew up my funny punchline.
I mean, did I? Yeah. No, I don't.
Because the fact is that you didn't know. If I would have said Colonel Sanders, you would have known who that was. But because you said Colonial Sanders.
Regardless, I didn't know that's how you said Colonel. So I legit was like, oh, Colonial Sanders. And I thought, like, maybe that's what they, like, he's a big deal there. You know what I mean? Like, that was I literally did not know. And you're like, that's Colonel. And I'm like, what? Like, my mind was blown. And then we're, like, going through the alphabet and, like, English dictionary. We spent hours on that. I'm like, okay, we just totally got sidetracked. We're not going to Louisville anymore. That's scratched.
Yeah.
But we were like going back and forth, like because we kind of felt like we should go somewhere. Like the whole should. It's our anniversary. Like we should. And And it had to be somewhere drivable, and we were like Gatlinburg or Asheville.
Yeah.
And then nowhere really was sounding right. And we were like, okay, well, maybe we should redo a cabin in the woods theme.
Mm-hmm.
And like go get cozy somewhere and like sit by the fire and be romantic and like drink Carmenere and like look in each other's eyes, and you could tell me all the things you love about me, you know, like
Hashtag your dream.
Why wouldn't you want to tell me things you love about me?
I would.
That is my dream.
Yeah, I'm just saying, anniversary or not, that's what you want every night.
I just want on like a typical Sunday night.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about like redoing that vibe because our 2nd year anniversary, so we were going down like the line of what did we do for our anniversaries. Our 2nd year of marriage, I planned it. And we were living in Florida at the time, and we were going up to Georgia and to stay in the mountains because our anniversary is in November. So we're like, oh, it's in mountains. It'll be cool. It'll be fall. It'll be like a whole vibe. And the only like rule, if that's what you want to call it, was like no TV, no phone, no distractions. Like all we're going to do is drink wine. We are newly into wine at this point. And we were drinking, do you remember what it was called?
Kendall Jackson, and it was the Chardonnay, and it tastes like whiskey.
Like straight up whiskey.
Yeah, which I was into.
Yeah, because you like whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even like think about it. I can't even look at it now. It's so disgusting. But we were into that at the time. So we were going to drink wine, be in the hot tub, like eat charcuterie, you know, make love under the stars or like on a bearskin rug, you know, like it was this whole romantic weekend getaway. And the reality of it is...
So I got off of Emory. It was my first contract ever. I got off Emory early.
Oh, we were traveling. That's right. Yeah. We weren't living in Florida. We were in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I said we were living in Florida.
Oh, I missed that part.
You weren't listening.
Sorry.
You're yawning.
I know.
I'm boring you, apparently, with my wonderful stories.
I got off work Emory. I was so excited because I had just started like in September. So I just had to work until November, and I knew I had like a little break. And so I got off work early at lunch, and I ran out, and like Kim was there to pick me up, and we went to our pizza place, Fellini's Pizza, and we got a salad and a pizza. And I remember we were driving, and we were halfway there, and I just remember getting those hot flashes, like super hot, I'm gonna throw up, like that feeling. So I was like turning the air on and like letting it hit me, and then we get to the cabin, everything was fine, it was all exciting. And then we went to Helena, it was Helena, Georgia, and we went out for the night. We went to a place to eat and have some drinks and hang out, walk around. And I just remember, it just hit me like a ton of bricks.
You skipped like the whole cute part of Helena is like this cute German town.
Yeah.
And it's so like, it's walkable and it's like decorative and it's just, it was vibey. It was like holiday-ish. It was so cute. We're like, oh, we'll go out and have like this wonderful dinner, and then we'll come home, get in the hot tub. And Aaron was literally on this, I think you were like hiding behind a gingerbread man.
I was.
Puking violently.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
You puked all over that town.
Helena needed a flood to clear out what I did there.
I was like looking at the lights and like, wow, this is so cozy. I think we even had fudge. Like we were like taking selfies of us like
no, that
eating
was the
fudge.
Next day.
Was it?
Yeah, when we went into town the next day, and I was like, too soon.
I thought it was that night.
No, because you ate all the fudge.
We didn't go back into town.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
We went back for lunch and had the trout on the river.
Oh, see, I forgot. Okay, you're right. So Aaron's puking. We're like, all right, we got to wrap this up. We got to go home. And we're heading back into our cabin, and our GPS didn't work. Do you remember this?
Yeah, you were driving.
I was driving. We had no idea where we were going.
That's back when Kim drove.
I know. Gosh, remember the days?
Yeah, when I just hopped in the passenger seat without thinking.
Get on in, Bobby. Let's go for a ride. Now it's like I picked him up from work today.
We almost died twice.
He was like,
God.
Because I never drive, and I like pulled into like in my lane, but I thought I was just in my lane. I almost hit a car, and the car honked at me. And Aaron's like, babe, you're in the wrong lane. I'm like, no, I'm not. And then the car's like honking.
What do you expect me to do? These lanes are small. And I'm like, my whole body was over the line.
You know, that was not one of my finest moments. But
then drove 35 mile an hour past our apartment complex, and then whipped a Yui into a, it was an experience. Let me tell you that. That literally was a
And-
3-minute drive. There was 2 experiences that I'm like, get me out of this car.
You distract me, and I'm fine by
I
myself.
didn't say a word until you passed the apartment.
I was nervous because I don't usually perform in front of you behind the wheel, so I was nervous.
Okay.
So I never drive. So at this point in our relationship, I still drove, and it's pitch black. GPS doesn't work. We're on the side of the road. Aaron's throwing up. Like, we have no idea where to go. I actually don't remember how we figured out how to get home, because I remember feeling panicked of like, I don't know how to get us home.
Yeah, and
we're fucked.
I was seeing blur at that point.
Do you remember how we got home?
I don't actually. I just remember. All I remember is laying in the bed with my face buried, with my butt in the air, like rocking back and forth, like moaning, and then getting into the bathroom and coming out in the hallway and seeing you watching SVU.
Well, that's what I was getting. So you just skipped to my whole point. But I don't know. We ended up not. I don't know how we got home. Like, grace of God, like an angel literally took over and drove us home. 'Cause I do not remember how we got there. And we get back, and again, this was supposed to be no TV, nothing. Just you and I in the hot tub, like banging it out, like pouring Kendall Jackson all over my boobs. You know, like that was the vibe. We get back. Aaron is blowing mud all over the house. All over the house. Like diarrhea everywhere in the walls. He's throwing up. He's so sick. And I'm like, I don't really know what to do. Like, there's nothing I could do for you. You just had to let it, like, ride it out. And so I would, like, check on you sometimes. But I was sitting on the couch, like, eating the charcuterie, drinking the Kendall Jackson by myself, watching, like, SVU marathon because it was cable. That's, like, the only thing that was on. And I'm like, how is this our anniversary weekend? Like, this was the opposite of what I had imagined we would be doing.
Yeah,
I'm freaking watching SVU in the middle of the woods by myself with my sick husband.
Well, you had Mimi.
We did have Mimi. And the next day, Aaron was feeling better, and I had arranged for masseuses to come and give us an amazing massage in our cabin, again, in the woods, the whole thing. And you were feeling a little better the next day. We got our massages, and literally Mimi sat up in the room upstairs and barked
The entire massage.
Entire massage. I have never felt more on edge.
I know.
Why did we go up there and like?
I don't know, because we were new to massages, and I thought she would stop because Mimi never barks. She usually just sits in the room and she's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
She freaking ruined that for me.
I figured that we were doomed for anniversaries because year 1 we got into a fight over Traveling Soldier because you were having a deep conversation. We had some drinks, and the song came on, and I started singing it, and Kim lost her mind.
Okay.
And then we ended up, she was running through the campsite, like, by herself at night, and I'm, like, trying to find her, and then she thought I was...
running through the campsite.
Yeah, you took off in the campsite.
Can I put some context behind this? Because you can't just say that.
Well, can I finish? Like,
Yes.
She takes off, because she was a runner. She's a runner, she's a track star.
I am a runner.
Yeah, and so then I'm, like, trying to find her because she didn't have a flashlight, and then she thought I was chasing her with a flashlight, like, trying to scare her and, like, be mean. And I'm like, I'm trying to find you.
Dude, that was the worst anniversary. I will say, just wrapping up the Georgia, that you ended up feeling much better the next day. And we did get to have that really nice night of just sitting outside in the hot tub and hanging out. And it was like, okay, we ended on a good note. But I felt like we were going to redo that cabin in the woods.
Minus my puking.
Vibe, yes.
Yeah,
we needed
agreed.
to redo. For the first year, so we were living in Florida because it was our first anniversary. And I guess you planned it. I thought I planned it.
We both planned it.
Did we do it together?
And that's when we started. We both planned year 1, and then we started where
With
you
the
planned year
every
2,
other.
I planned
Okay.
year 3, you planned year 4, I planned year 5.
So we planned to go camping. Now this is Florida. So we go up to Apalachicola, which is on the Gulf Coast, like a campground on the beach.
Oyster.
Which I didn't like at the time. Like, what a loser. I, like, literally all I ate was, like, chicken fingers. I was, like, a child. And I remember I tried the oyster. I'm like, I didn't like it. But it wasn't even raw. They were, like, cooked or something disgusting.
They were oysters Rockefeller.
Yeah. Like, no wonder I didn't like them. I'd like to go back now.
Most people like oysters Rockefeller.
Really?
Yeah.
No. I'm not a fan. I don't like cheese with my seafood.
And hot oysters.
No, I want them cold with the accoutrements and the horseradish and all the things. So anyways, we're camping that night and we're sitting around the fire having like marshmallows, right? And drinks. Yeah.
Jack
I think
Daniels.
we did hot dogs.
We did no.
We did.
Oh, we did. We ended up having to make it because remember we went into Apalachicola and then ate a huge lunch and then we found the oyster place. Then we went and ate there, and so like
oh my God,
we
we
weren't
ate the whole
hungry.
day.
We had like pork chops to do and like
Ew.
hamburgers, hot dogs, s'mores. We had a whole cooler full of stuff and we didn't even use it.
That's right.
But we
were
did hot
sick as
dogs and we did hot dogs that night.
Okay. And so we're like sitting around, talking about just listening to music. And, I'm talking about like good relationship things. I like to talk about relationship things on our anniversary, reflecting on the year, just all like, what can we work on? What do you love? What, all the important things. And I'm like in it and I'm feeling it. And I'm like looking into your eyes and it's literally like Aaron's just like looking at me. And then he just starts singing the Traveling Soldier song.
Right when she's doing it, Dixie Chicks Traveling Soldier came on. And I was playing the guitar at the time. And that was one of the songs I was learning. And so she was in the middle of her talk and I just go, 2 days past 8. And it was literally ignition blast off.
You would have thought I don't even know, told me that you did something bad. I lost my shit. Again, we were drinking, so I think that just...
No.
What?
Nowadays...
I would never...
Even if we were drinking nowadays, you wouldn't do that.
No, yeah, obviously. I mean, I'm like a grown-up now. Like, back then, I was a little wilder. I got a shorter temper. I was more of like a hothead, like always snapping off. And obviously we were drinking, so that just made everything 10 times worse back then. But now, yeah, like, right, that wouldn't even be an issue now. But it's like funny to look back and be like, oh my God, like we ended up getting into like the biggest fight over something so freaking dumb. So now the joke is that every time that song comes on, I always think of that because I'm like, God, and I love that song.
I know.
I love that song, and that song ruined that whole night.
Did the song ruin or did you?
I did,
Yeah.
but the song influenced that reaction.
Okay, just flipping gears here. I just thought of this. If you could only pick one anniversary that we went somewhere and did something, which one would, the only one, there can't be, well, I like this one and this one. If you could only pick one, which one would you recreate? And what year was it?
Well, I'm torn between the two. You know
know.
what two? New York and California.
You have to pick one. And then talk about
I'm going
it.
to tell you why.
Okay.
No brainer for me.
All right.
We've had so many good ones. Again, some bigger than others, but all fun for the most part. Calistoga. Year 5?
3.
Year 3. We went...
By the way, I planned this.
Yes. This was an incredible anniversary. We were living in San Francisco at the time, so we were like super close. And Aaron planned a whole like wine country getaway. And we biked to wineries, we did mud baths, we did massages. And it was just such a fun day. But the standout was we went to Jolene's in Calistoga. It's not
Jolene's, it's Jolie.
Jolie, you're right.
Jole.
Oh, I always say Jolene.
I know,
Okay.
but it's the song Jolene. Yeah.
Jolene. Are you singing while I'm saying something important?
Oh God, here we go. So
Jolie. Hold
remember
on.
you used to call it Holies?
You're right. Yeah. Okay. Holies. I think that is probably what it's called.
Probably.
So, there's a couple of reasons why this was such a standout. So, at the time, I was reading the wine Bible, and like I was really into wine, and we were living. Well, I was actually taking a contract up in Sebastopol, so like I was living up in wine country. I was learning all the wine. Aaron would come up on the weekends. We'd go to wine vineyards. I'd ask all the questions. Like I was like really into it. It was
Remember,
fun.
it was our dream to open our own winery and create like a whole thing with. It wasn't about the wine, more or less. Like I would want to hire a kid out of school, like out of college, that's a viticulturist, and like create our own brand of wine. But we wanted to do it for the entertainment value of like having a cool place to go with live music and It's like barn chic, you know?
Yes. And we wanted that. We're such entrepreneurs because you would come up and stay with me and we would go and like go to these vineyards and like go to these tasting rooms, but everything closed so early. Everything would close at like 6 or 7. And we're like, gosh, wouldn't it be cool to have not a bar? I don't want to go sit in a bar, but have this really cool like vineyard where
outdoor
you could
winery.
go and have like great food and local wines and like live music. And it was fun and it was vibey. There was nothing like that.
At a vineyard.
At a vineyard with good wine.
Yeah, not a restaurant.
Right. And so we're like, we should open this. And like, I was really into wine at the time. And anyways, we never did. But I still think that's such a fun idea. So anyways, I was really into the wine. And Aaron took me to Hollis. And it was a wine. It was our first ever.
It changed our lives as we know it.
It was our first
with regards to food.
It was our first ever wine and food pairing. We had never done this. Yeah, this was like really, I think, when we became foodies, and we sat with the sommelier, and I was again really into wine, so like we were just asking him all these questions, and he was so cool, and he was like letting us try all this stuff and like going over the pairings,
bringing extra glasses.
Oh my God, we were.
Oh, I was hammered.
Night.
I ended up getting in the shower with my
butt naked,
Under Armour.
Well, obviously, you're
Under Armour shirt on,
and just wiener out,
and pressing it up against the glass as I took the shower head off and was like doing a show.
Yeah, that's for my eyes only. Wow, that was a treat that night. Let me tell you.
Oh man, that was insane. But the Jolie's was right across from our hotel, so we could just walk. So we walked over, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I can't believe I planned this because this is going to be the most expensive dinner I've ever paid for. And that seemed, at the time, like irresponsible.
Yeah.
Right? Especially on top of the weekend and the nice hotel we stayed in. And I was like, this is irresponsible, but the food looks really good. And we've never done an experience like that. And then I said it was our anniversary, so they started us off with a glass of champagne. It was like this whole experience. And then the chef's wife is the pastry chef, and so she only makes one pastry or two types of desserts, and they sell them until they run out. And so if you don't get there at a good enough time, you don't get dessert because they're out. And so it was just that cool kind of vibe, and it was a beautiful restaurant. And we had an awesome table, awesome sommelier. And I remember the bill came and it was like $374.
Oh my God.
And I about lost it. But then I realized that we paid it. We had so much fun. The world didn't stop.
No.
And we continued on our lives and everything was cool. And that changed my view of spending money on experiences in restaurants.
Yeah. Like obviously that's a lot. But that is one of my favorite experiences that I will never forget because it was just so fun, so delicious, and it just stood out. And after that, we're like, wow, like this is so cool. And we started to get more into foodie experiences because before that, I guess like we really weren't like, you know, in Florida, like we didn't really have much money anyways, but we would, for us, like a nice stepping out dinner was like going to like
Sneakers.
No, like
watching football.
Cheesecake Factory.
Oh no, Carrabba's was our big.
Oh, Carrabba's was like a
or sushi. Remember, like if we tried sushi, it would be like so expensive.
Wasabi's, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that, we were like chain people. I mean, the night that we got engaged, you took me to Carrabba's. Like that was a big deal, which is so funny to think about because we used to think. Not that there's anything wrong, but now we're just not chain people. Like I want to go to more of like a mom and pop place or like a chef place. Now I don't go to a chain unless I have to for whatever reason. But that was just kind of normal for us. So Jolie's like really opened us up to like, and especially with the wine and then even like cocktail pairings and just like these different experiences, we were like, minds were blown.
Well, yeah,
we were
I mean,
this is amazing.
It was like a whole experience because even the sommelier wrote down every wine and put it with what we ordered so that we could see it and understand the pairing thing and then sign the menu and had the chef sign the menu. It was like a whole thing.
That was amazing. Yeah. Okay, what was your favorite?
It was Calistoga.
Really?
Yeah, Calistoga.
I thought you were going to say New York.
No.
That was a good one too.
No, New York was great, but that's not
yeah.
I mean, we saw The Lion King. I planned that restaurant. We ended up going back to, remember? We ended up finding it again and going back to
it
it.
was like in someone's house almost, it seemed like.
It's not labeled. There's no signs for this restaurant. It just looks like a house in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
And you walk down the steps and it opens up this huge like restaurant. And it's like swanky and kind of like dark wood
Tapas.
and dark
It's
like
a vibe.
light lanterns or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good food. We went back there, but we went to that place, and I remember stepping out and doing that and feeling like that's when we were really getting into food.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it's all about the pizza when we go to New York. So.
Oh God, yeah.
But we went to Lion King and then went to this amazing bar and live music, and it was fun. But that's like, I feel like, it was fun, but it wasn't so standoutish. We had so much fun on that weekend, that anniversary weekend in New York, but not anything like Calistoga. Calistoga was so different.
Standout, yeah. We gotta not recreate, but like I'm ready for
I
another
would do that again.
Standout.
Identical.
No, I want to do something. Well, we want to start planning some U.S. based trips for Travsessed Adventures, and one of the top things on our list is to do like a wine country long weekend, because that's one of our favorite places in the entire world. Like I lived there. Well, we lived in the Bay Area for 3 years, but then I actually lived up in wine country. And so taking a contract, so we lived separately for a little bit, and Aaron would come up. So like, we know it so well.
Well, not only that, like we got so familiar with it because she lived near Healdsburg, which is our favorite little wine area, not, Napa or anything like that.
Calistoga is in Napa.
Yeah, but
we
like
Healdsburg,
Healdsburg.
yeah.
And so we would go there a lot. Our wine club was there. And then it became, we would go up there almost every weekend. And then even when Kim left that contract, we would still go up there. And then anybody that came out to visit us, we would take to that area and show them around. Like Laura and Jacob, my dad and his girlfriend at the time, your sister and Eric. I feel like we took other people there.
We've spent a lot of time with Katie there, like Sarah Beth, because she lived there. Yeah, like that's a place that we love. So it's kind of like a Bali. Like we spend so much time in Bali, we know it really well, and it feels like home to us. Like I feel like that part of our country we know so well, and it feels like home, that I would love to plan like a really cool weekend trip there.
The only thing is it would be balls to the wall every day drinking.
No. I would want to do Tam. I think that would be cool. I think there's a lot of cool things. I mean, yes, it would definitely be like a food and like wine focused trip. But like, I think we can throw some other like cool things in there too.
That's true.
Okay. So back to the anniversary. So all that being said, we ended up, because we were like trying to figure out, well, where do we want to go? And nothing was just like hitting right. And so we're like, why are we trying to force something just to say we're going to go? Like if something really felt fun and felt good, like let's go. But like we weren't feeling it, and like we're trying to save money, and like, so why are we gonna, like, we're like, let's just stay home. And the most important thing is like, we're gonna have a day just to be with each other and to have fun. And so we ended up playing pickleball.
Well, we found a new place to live.
We did. Yes.
That was big.
That was big. We're moving out of our house because it's infested with
German roaches.
Yes. Which that's like a whole nother story, but
I mean, it's not like we didn't want to get out of here anyway. Just it was nice to have the German roaches invade us so that we had an easy out, because our landlord was like, I wouldn't want to live in this, so I don't blame you if you guys want to go.
Yeah. It was bad. So we found like a cute place that just feels more comfortable, and there's light, and since we know we're going to be here through the summer, as a place that we can come back to in between our trips, it just makes sense to like live somewhere that feels more comfortable. So we found a place to live, and then we get to move in next week. And then we went and played pickleball, which was really fun because it's something new that we haven't done, like on an actual court.
Correct.
Why are you laughing?
I mean, Kim strikes again.
Why?
Okay, Miss Pouty Powderson.
Oh, okay. Well, can we focus on the good first? Excuse me. I was a natural.
You are, and you did so well. I'm just saying it wouldn't be us if there wasn't some sort of funny incident that literally I couldn't stop laughing.
I just want to start by saying that I've never played sports before, like long term, right? Like I did play softball. Hey, I did. And then
Buddy, you told me you picked flowers in the outfield.
Excuse me. I hit to third once.
You got a triple?
Yes. Thank you. Okay. It was pretty good.
Are you sure you didn't run the opposite way and get on third, but you should have ran to first?
I had to cover for somebody because I was always an outfielder. And then I had to cover for somebody on shortstop and like ruin the whole play.
Buddy, it's not just one play.
Whatever. I did not do what I was supposed to do.
God.
Okay. So like I always would do sports like softball or cheerleading because like my friends were there and I wanted to like hang out with my friends, but then I would never stick with it because I didn't really have the right coaching and I didn't really have anybody involved like helping me like stick with it. So I would end up getting frustrated and just like quitting and be like, whatever, I'll just hang out with you after the game. And I always like wanted to be good, but I just never had the right coaching. So that's a setup for the story. So I've never really played, and I've never played tennis before, even though it runs in my blood. Mm-hmm. My dad was an amazing tennis player. My grandmother was like top of her tennis club. Like everyone in my family plays tennis. And so I've always been drawn to it because I feel like it would be a fun competitive sport that you could do. Like, and it's an activity that you and I could do together. Sounds great. Pickleball was fun. We were like playing in front of our house in Florida and we were like killing it. Yep. So we're like, okay, cool. Let's get on a real court. So while it was fun, and I feel like I did pretty good for my first time.
You did amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Like we were volleying and like I was hitting some difficult shots and you were returning them and you were doing really well.
Thank you.
But
things took a turn.
Things took a turn when I actually pulled up the rules and was like, let's start trying to play by the rules so we can learn. Because pickleball is a little different. Like, I still don't understand all the rules and, like, serving and how, whatever the points, I know how the points go, but it's like if you're playing doubles, it's different and stuff like that. And so we were just trying to play to get used to it. Like, you got to serve in this box and you can't run into this box and you can't overhit and blah, blah, blah. And so I started to like actually play by the rules, and when we started to put you in that little box, that's when things got a little difficult.
Well,
and there was a comment that cracks me
up
that you said, it's impossible to hit the ball within these lines.
I kept hitting them out because I'm too strong.
Oh my God.
Those lines are for freaking little people, okay, with no muscles. Okay. Like I would hit it out every time and I was getting so frustrated. And when you started critiquing like, hey, like try this, try that, like as a way to help me, right? Which they do say like you shouldn't really learn or be coached by your significant other. Well, I do believe that. And there's a reason why.
And of course you believe that. And once you believe that, then there's no chance I will ever be able to help you.
Whatever.
Because you have that belief in your head. If you actually said, wow, my husband could actually teach me and I'm willing to learn from him because he is better and he knows what he's doing and he's telling me the right things to do.
Did I not end up listening to you at the end? After I had apologized?
No, because you said...
Oh, you know what? You're actually going to piss me off right now. Like, yes, I did. Did you not see me serving the way that you taught me how to serve?
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. I get no acknowledgement for these steps that I take.
I take that back. You started serving, yes. But then you said you'd rather do it your way. And I said, you know what? Like, hit it.
But I wasn't. I was doing it the way you taught me.
Yeah.
But I found myself, I got frustrated because then I was doing fine, just like doing it my way, right? And then when Aaron started to be like, okay, like do it this way, or like hold your racket this way, or whatever, or like not racket, but paddle. And then I started to get in my head, which is what always happens. And then when I get in my head, then I start like making mistakes and just like I started to do bad. And then I get frustrated. And then because now I'm frustrated with myself, so then I run off the court and sat and cried.
Sat Indian style next to Mimi and cried.
It was like literally 50 seconds.
Yeah, until you started laughing, and I'm laughing and trying to figure that out of like, is this serious or does she just want to break?
So I I'm a crier. Like, that's how I express all emotion. If I'm happy, if I'm frustrated, if I'm sad, like, I'm just a crier. That's how I release. And so I was frustrated. So I'm like crying, and I had this flashback as I was sitting there. Now I'm a 37-year-old woman playing pickleball on her anniversary. It's fun. And I'm sitting there like crying, like throwing a tantrum, pouting basically. I like threw the ball and like stormed off through the racket. And I had this flashback of when I was, I don't know how old, like how old are you in 6th grade, I guess, 7th grade, 6th grade? And I was playing softball, and my dad we were at the park, and he was like, well, one of the like a rare occasions he was there, like trying to like show me what to do. But he was like trying to teach me, it was like batting, I think, or throw, I can't remember what it was, but I remember he was like telling me, hey, like, no, do this, or like, try this. And I literally was so frustrated. I ran off, stormed away, sat with my back to him, and was crying and pouting and like refused to continue. And he's like, Kimberly, like, you got, like, if you're not willing to learn, then, you know, whatever. And I had that flashback of that time when I was in 6th or 7th grade, and now I'm a 37-year-old woman still pouting like a child.
But you also did that with Gibbs too when you would play horse. He would go to win, and you would pout until he'd give you letters back.
No. I'm not a cheater, so don't you dare say that, and you know that. I play to win. I don't want charity, and you know it. I don't take charity points.
You're the one that told me the story that he would give you letters back. No.
So, let me correct you, because...
Correct yourself. You told me the story.
Gibbs is my stepdad, by the way, and so we would always play hoop together. Aaron hates when I say that.
I've never heard anybody just hoop. Like...
That's what me and Gibbs called it, hoop.
We're going to go shoot hoops.
We'd go shoot hoop.
Hoops. It's plural.
Just one. There's one hoop. And we're all shooting in it. So we would go play a game of hoop, and we would do it like every day. And so I would do the same thing. I would get frustrated if I started doing bad, and then I would storm off, and he would call me a blamer. He still literally calls me that to this day. Like, it's something that's always carried on, because I would always be pouting. So I would storm off.
And it would be his fault that you're being bad.
You know, he always messed with me too.
But like, you said it was my fault that you were bad at pickleball.
I never said it was your fault.
Yeah, you did, because you said that I started to correct you and try to teach you, and I got in your head, and because I got in your head, you were doing fine before I talked to you. So that's blamer.
Okay, that is blamer quality.
Yes,
but I wasn't saying it was, I was just saying that got into my head, which then made me overthink everything. So that's not necessarily your fault. But yes, blamer tendencies.
Yes.
And so Dave, Gibbs, aka Gibbs, because I called him a lot of things there. I would pout, and then he would say, you know, you can come back, and because the game would be over, right? And he like, let's do one more game, or like I'll give you a chance to get like, you know, a couple, like we can do horse again, and you could get some like letters, whatever. So he never would like give me my points back, but he would give an opportunity to come back and redeem myself. And then if I didn't, I would pout again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that would be our routine.
Okay.
And then also growing up, because I grew up with Dave, like he was my dad. He raised me basically. And my dad, my real biological father, was there and in and out. But we had a check system. So if I was bad, but like if I gave eyebrows or gave an attitude or talked back or whatever, I would get a check, and every check was 15 minutes off bedtime. And so Dave would say, if I had like 20 checks for the day, he would be like, do you want to go outside and play a game of hoop? And if you get X amount or whatever, we'll take a couple checks off. So like we would go do that. And then if I didn't, I would literally like be so mad. So I realized a couple of things on that pickleball field or court. That I'm a poor loser.
Yeah.
and that I'm still doing things that I did when I was a kid that like are not good. Like I don't, because I honestly want to learn how to play pickleball. I like being competitive and I want to learn how to do it right so that we can actually like, this could be something you and I could do, or we could play with couples. And so I do. And so it's like, I really want to like break this and move on and like be teachable and be coachable and actually stop pouting in the corner like a child.
Well, we also want to learn how to snow ski this year, and so that got me nervous of like, it's going to be frustrating. Like it's hard to learn. Like, but once you get it, you get it. But it depends on how much you want to put into it to try to figure it out. And we were going to try snowboarding together, which could be a whole nother level.
Well, and you did say that. You were like, listen, like, if you want to learn how to snowboard and stuff, like, you got to be able to take coaching. You have to be able to listen to what someone's telling you. Like, you can't just say, I want to do it my way. Like, it might not feel as natural or as comfortable, but if you learn the right way to do things from the beginning, then it's going to get easier over time. And it was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't want to do that.
And you don't want to learn something and play with really bad habits. Right? Because you're never going to progress. You're going to have to relearn those bad habits in order to be competitive. Yeah. And so that's where it's like, I mean, and competitive in the nature of, like you said, if we played doubles with another couple, like, I would want to be competitive, right? I don't like going on the court to lose.
Well, and it is because, like, I'm super competitive. Ooh, there's a dog in the yard.
What?
They're not supposed to have dogs down there. We have this beautiful piece of grass downstairs that, like, for some reason dogs aren't allowed, but there's no grass around our building, so Mimi literally has to, like, pee on someone else's house.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, there's a dog. What was I just saying?
Bad habits.
Damn, I just forgot.
Yeah, that was a big squirrel moment.
I know. Well, because, like, it's so, like, frowned upon. And it distracted me. But anyways, I'm a super competitive person. But I'm usually, like, but if I'm not doing well, like, that's why I was banned from board games. For a while, because, like, I would get so worked up. Well, and actually, that was more fun and playful, but there were a couple of times I got really worked up.
Really aggressive.
Yeah, and so I was banned. This was years ago, though. This was, like, let's be honest, this was, like, 10 years ago. So I've redeemed myself, at least in the board game category. But, yeah, I think that was just, like, I
mean, you're still the most interesting person in the world to play heads up with. Because you just make up words and then crank it down like you got it right.
One time, you'll never let me forget it.
One time? It happened 3 times during that one game.
Okay, that's because I was worked up.
I just love how you said it correct before anybody corrected you. Like, nobody said correct. She says the wrong thing. So it was Sputnik for, like, it was a Friends one. Oh, rest in peace, Chandler. That was sad.
Say that.
I saw them all posting today. Anyway, but it was Sputnik when Ross was the potato, and they called him doo-doo, like he was space doo-doo. But it was Sputnik, and so they're trying to explain this to Kim, and she says, Spud Lightyear, and then goes, correct, and, like, it went off, and we're all trying to say, the opposing team's like, no, you don't get to count that point. And then it was Phoebe's sister or something, you, like, made up a name and then said correct and then went down.
Because I get super worked up and, like, my brain is going so fast that it's hard to keep up, you know? So I'm just, like, in it and I'm feeling it, you know? But, so like, my point was that was a recognition that I had about myself that that hasn't come up for a long time. And so it just made me realize, like, that's not who I want to be, and I want to work on that because I want to have fun.
No, I love that.
Playing games with you.
Well, and on top of that, like, I've always been a sports person, and so I just haven't even played any sort of sport.
Well, and you're so good at everything, and that really freaking pisses me off. Like, you're so good at everything, and it actually is quite obnoxious. So maybe I should try getting coaching lessons from someone else, because I do think, again, like we were saying, if you're teaching me how to do something, if I was there with a stranger who is coaching me how to play pickleball, do we really think that I would run off the court pouting and crying?
I don't know.
I mean, I would hope not, but we don't know.
We don't know.
That would be tragic. But I feel like I would pull myself together because you're the closest person to me. So I feel comfortable with you that if I'm going to run off the court crying, like, whatever. But, like, I wouldn't do that with a stranger, which is sad.
No, and I told you, like, while I'm at work, go get a pickleball lesson.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Anyhow.
like we said, we'll see. Because, like, skiing and stuff like that could be fun, but I want you to pick it up.
I know this is going to be a stretch for me, but I'm willing to tap into my 7th grade self that just wanted to play softball and be a cheerleader and didn't quit. I can like redeem myself.
Love that.
I don't want to be a quitter. I don't want to be a quitter.
And you're not really a quitter in
anything.
No, you're not.
I don't quit.
No, you don't. Just sports. Just sporting events.
I don't want to do that anymore.
Yep.
Okay,
Anyway, so we played pickleball, and then we had a lunch planned, and we were so excited to go for our lunch to sit outside because it was the only place in Charleston, West Virginia, that we felt like we could go that had that vibe, right? That we could get like an espresso martini, we could sit outside. It was such a beautiful day. It was a Monday. It was like perfect. And Monday, the restaurant was closed, and so Kim and I had 0 options for a lunch.
Like literally, Charleston has nowhere to eat. Nowhere.
No.
Like that we like. And usually we'll have a couple of things that were a go-to place, whatever. There is nothing here. Nothing to just go sit outside and have a fun lunch. There's like pubs and breweries. And
It's all bar food.
it's bar food, which I don't like and I don't want. So I was like, damn, like.
Or just super meat heavy, right? Like steak.
Right. And
Chicken,
it's like, who wants
salmon. Steak, chicken, salmon.
I don't want
That's
to
your
go
choices.
sit in a dark restaurant in the middle of the day and eat a steak.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the vibe. So that was disappointing. But we were like, whatever, who cares? It's Monday. We're together. Again, like, let's just go anywhere. So we went to this one place. It was fine. It wasn't that great. And then we came home.
Well, it's cool because it was at the market. And so we went and got stuff for charcuterie. And we got, it has a really awesome world wine store. And so we got to get Carmenere and we got a Sauvignon Blanc. And we came home and it was like...
And like a pound of truffles.
We did get a pound of truffles.
Oh my God, we're out of freaking control.
We had 16...
chocolate truffles.
16 chocolate truffles.
And truffle cheese and a garlic cheddar cheese. And we made this like huge charcuterie board and we're like, oh, like this is so cute. Like let's do a little wine tasting with the truffles and the cheese and we're not going to eat all of this. Like we'll just kind of dabble. We ate everything on that board.
Yeah, I know.
All 16 chocolates.
Yeah.
And all the cheese.
Yeah.
We were sick as dogs.
We still have cheese left though. We didn't eat
Oh,
the
I
whole...
threw that shit out.
Did you?
Hell yeah. I was like,
man.
I'm not going to be trusted with this pound of cheese. No,
Okay.
no.
It's probably best.
Yeah. And the salami too.
I just got kind of... You threw away the
Hell
salami?
yeah, I did, bro. Listen, I couldn't even look at the
man.
stuff.
I was excited for that dabble.
So we had our charcuterie, and it was fun because, like, we sat and listened to music, and then I had written, like, some fun questions, like, to ask about, like, relationship stuff, like, fun stuff, and just, like, reflecting on the year and all of that. And so we did something... So we do something at the end of every adventure trip that we host. And so this was the first year that we've done this in our relationship like this. Well, we always do the peach and the pit, but we did the peach pit in Buffalo this year.
Well, because we learned that in Patagonia.
Yeah, right. But I guess we do always do the...
Peach in the pit,
like
always
kind of like, what was your highlight? What's something you want to work on? Yeah, we always reflect on the year of like, what do we want to work on? What was like the high of our relationship? What was the low?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to work on? What do I want to work on?
What do you think I should work on?
Yeah. Like, what do you need more of me? And so it's like we asked ourselves these questions.
And we've done that every year, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So,
but this year was fun because we did the peach pit and the buffalo, which was like, okay, peach is like the highlight, buffalo is the low point, and then the buffalo.
No. The pit is the low point. The buffalo.
That's what I said.
No, you said buffalo.
Oh, okay, yeah. Buffalo is like something like fun and wild.
Or
unexpected.
unexpected.
Yeah. So that was fun. So we just like talked about all things relationships. Aaron didn't interrupt me with a traveling soldier. And
I did not.
I said you didn't.
Oh, I thought you said Aaron did interrupt me with traveling
That was a full circle moment coming from our first one.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. Like, I love that time. And again, I think it just goes back to, of course, like, do I want to go, like, it would have been cool to, like, go to Italy. Would have been cool to go to wine country, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's really just about us being together, enjoying each other, not talking about work, not talking about anything, and just, like, sitting around, having wine, eating a million chocolates, and just, like, talking and listening to music and, like, connecting together. Like, that's really all I love and all I want. It doesn't matter. Like, we're literally in a roach infested apartment in the projects of Charleston, and it's like, and it was so fun. It doesn't matter.
I mean, and that's, if I was being super nitpicky, it would just been like, I was hoping that the apartment, which they said was available that day, like, I wanted to get the keys so we could go and spend our night there, because it's fully furnished. They even have, like,
we had to move, like,
fire pits and, like, Adirondack chairs overlooking the entire city of Charleston. It's a gorgeous place. So I was like, ooh, that'd be fun to go sit out there and have our anniversary. But
yeah, but we would have had to move. Like, it wouldn't have been relaxing. We would have been moving our shit all day. So I think it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, like, wrap it up with this is, like, what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I wrote an email or, like, a post on Instagram, and I was, like, reflecting on our 13 years. And it was interesting because, like, we've told our whole story, you know, about all that kind of stuff. It's like one of the first episodes we ever did on the podcast. You can go back and listen. But it was just, I wrote, like, we've been married 13 years, and then 11 of those years, really, we've been traveling. Mm-hmm. And we've been together 16 years. So we were, like, together living in Florida, just not married. But I was looking at our wedding pictures, and, you know, it was a little over a year after we actually got married, because we got married, we bought our house, and it was, like, really a year later that we decided to, like, blow up everything to start traveling.
Not even a year.
Yeah, because I said 7 months at first, and then I was like, no, actually, it was over a year, because
you're right. We
got
coming
married
up
in
on 2 years.
2010.
Yeah.
And then we left to travel August 2012.
Right,
so we had about a year and a half until from the time we were married to the time we left.
Yeah.
And so I was just looking at those pictures, and I was like, wow, like, we had no idea that day on the beach, like, how much our life was about to change. Like, the things that were coming down the way for us that we had no idea. Like, we were excited. We're, like, buying a home and we're doing this. And then to know, like, or have no idea that a year and a half later, we'd literally be, like, blowing up our life and, like, completely redirecting and going on this crazy travel life adventure that would go on for 11 years, and it's still going. Like, we had no clue.
No, I know. And the opportunities that have come, it was everything that we used to dream about before. I mean, it was after we got married, in that year and a half, like, all the sitting out back and dreaming and crying and, like, wanting more and realizing, like, what did we do? Like, this isn't the life, like, we wanted to live. Like, has nothing to do with, like, getting married. You're the one I want to be with. But it was like, I remember that being a weird conversation of not being happy. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it's not like I'm not happy in the relationship, I'm just not happy with the way our life is going, and this can't be it, and what are we going to do? And just feeling so like there's no way in God's green earth, because it's like we're scraping change to put gas in our car, but we had ideas of opening our own business and traveling the world and, you know, maybe going back to school or just completely changing careers and like that whole thing. And we're just like, we're scraping change out of the car, like to get to work on Thursday. Like, how are we going to do any of that? To now circa 13 years, opening and running our own business that we love, traveling to 20 plus countries, almost seeing every state in the U.S., all the adventures we've gone on.
Yeah.
To, you know, the financial freedom that we've had. It's just.
And because of traveling, you know,
yeah.
And like you said, it was this crazy juxtaposition. I feel really smart saying that word. Do you know what that means? It's like a contrast, right?
Say it again?
Like juxtaposition. So it's like.
Are you saying that correctly?
Yes, juxtaposition.
Spell it.
No, I don't know how. So it's like two different screens. Like you're watching one, like one thing on this screen and something completely different on the other screen. It's like the contrast, right? Of like being so happy about being married and spending our lives together and like feeling like, wow, like I'm so in love and I'm so excited for this life. But then on the other side of it, completely opposite of like, I feel like this is not the life that we want to live, and what have we done? And now we have this house, and there's like this feeling of being unfulfilled and trying to figure that. And it was like these two different like contrasts of like like one bucket felt so full and the others were like so empty. And we're like, well, what are we gonna do, you know? And just feeling that way and trying to figure out what we were gonna do, and then finding out about traveling, and then everything changed. And it's just crazy how fast that things can change, and we had no idea, which makes me always think too is like we feel that way about like, wow, when we got married that day, we had no idea what the like in a year our whole life was gonna change. Like we thought maybe we were gonna have kids, and we realized we don't want that. We don't want to, like, our whole like thought system change. And so then it makes me think, we'll look back on this time, right? That's how life is, and be like, wow, I remember we were sitting on the couch in Charleston. We had no idea that this was coming down the pipe, and here we are next year. And this year, if you remember, this was the year that we said that we were going to go to Italy and start trying to have a family. We said this like 2 years ago. Oh. And it's like, that's not happening, right? So it's just crazy how like,
yeah,
you know, we're like that, our 13th wedding anniversary, we're going to be in Italy and like do the things, and like here we are in, you know, West Virginia, and we're not even close to that. So
that's why planning's for the birds, dude.
I know.
Like, just live life, man. I saw something on Instagram that said, if you're lucky, you have 4,000 weeks in your life.
Please don't say. I don't want to talk about sad stuff like this.
It's not sad. And then it said, so plan the trip, go on the adventure. Like, but I was thinking, I was like, 4,000 weeks, that doesn't seem very much. Like, no. I feel like I've already lived 4,000 weeks. But 4,000 weeks technically is 76.92 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, dude.
I mean, it is true. I was reading an email from Heath and Alyssa, from the RV Entrepreneur, who we like, and it was about how to not have regrets in life or whatever. And it was actually really good. But one thing that he talked about was always think about death. And like, people don't like to think about that, but like in this, not in a morbid way, but in a way of like, wow, we only have this one precious life. And if you were to die tomorrow, or we never know when it's coming for us. So it's like, make your decisions based on how you want to live, what feels right, like going for what you want, living in a way you want to live. There's never a right time for anything. It's never going to be all green lights, go, go, go. Like, you have to just do what feels right and go after your dreams and live how you want, because it could be taken any moment. And so like, when you have that in your mind, it's like, tell the people you love them, be present for your life, and like show up for it. And I was like, yeah. I
mean, we've always heard it, like Tim McGraw song, live like you were dying, right? And like that whole thing. But I get the concept, right? I think it's easier said than done. But I also, like, if you knew that you only had a certain number of weeks, your financial situation wouldn't matter, nothing. You would just go and spend all your money and do what you got to do to live that bit of your life, right? So obviously
there's reason,
right, you got to keep that within reason. But I get what everybody's saying, and I don't know what it was, but whenever I saw if you're lucky you get 4,000 weeks, I was like, that doesn't seem very long. I feel like I'm in contracts for 4,000 weeks, you know?
Yeah, feels like that.
Yeah,
but I think that's definitely something that I like, even just looking back, I'm 37 now. We got married 13 years ago, and you're like, holy shit, like,
you were 24.
Yeah, that's insane. And
no,
I was 25 when we got married. No, I was 24 when we got married. I was 24. Yeah, I was 24. About to be 25 because we got married in November.
Jeez.
I was a child. I was like a child bride.
So we got married 3 years after we got together.
Yeah, because we got together. You proposed after 6 months.
7 months.
Was it 7?
October to November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June.
Okay.
8 months.
Oh, 8 months. Okay. I always say 6. Okay. And then we were engaged for like 2 years. So like we had a long engagement. That's crazy. But yeah, it's like, it feels like, oh my God, that went by so fast. Like, how is it 13 years? How am I 37? How are we here? But also you're like, we've done so much living during that time. Like, look at all the things that we've done during that period of time, but it still feels like it went by so fast. And so it's like, I really just want to be as present in my life as I can and just enjoy every moment of it, because it is easy to be like, oh, like, when we get here, when we do this, when like all these goals that we have and we're always working towards, we're like, yeah. But then it's like, I just want to like enjoy every second of it, because 13 years just freaking flew by.
Well, do you know that we only have one thing remaining from that time? Everything else is gone. The house is gone. All the furniture we had, gone. Like, nothing is remaining from that time period in our life except one thing.
What? Mimi.
Mimi is the only thing that has been with us the entire time. Everything else is gone.
Wow.
Like, we've totally changed everything. The direction in life, where we live, where we've been, our stuff we have, all of that. Mimi's the only thing that was with us when we left and is still with us now.
Yeah.
Besides our relationship.
Yeah.
Which has changed as well.
Yeah.
For the better.
Yeah. If your relationship ain't changing, then you got big problems.
Mm-hmm. All right, we gotta wrap this up.
99 problems in a.
Okay.
And Mimi ain't one.
That's true.
Okay.
But you just said you hate that song and you think it's awful.
When did I say that? Oh my God, why do I have a flashback of this?
Yeah, you said, what an awful song. You got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one.
Where were we just listening to this? I remember this,
on our road trip up here. It was that I have that bluegrass version of it.
Oh, and a bitch ain't one. It's like so aggressive. But yeah.
It's kind of funny that you just said it.
I think 50 sang that. Didn't he?
No.
Yes.
It's Jay-Z.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But the guy redid it in a bluegrass version.
Yeah, that's a little bit aggressive. Plus, I just like don't love that word.
No, I don't either. But
it's like enough, Yeah. Whatever. Okay, we can end on this.
Yep. Yeah. That's
all right. So here we go, guys. We're gonna end it here. Thank you if you've listened this long. Thank you for hanging out with us. This was a anniversary extravaganza episode, and I think it was fun.
Yeah, and remember, join us on the launch of Patagonia on the 19th of November 2023 at 7:30. If you're on the adventure list, email list, you will get the notification. It will have the Zoom link where we're going to be. It's going to be fun. We're going to give all the details of the trip with a little presentation. So it'll be a lot of fun to join us. And like we said, these trips fill up very quickly, and usually the people that are on live, that's when the cart opens, whenever we get done with that presentation. And so usually the people that are on live snatch up all the spots. So if you do want to come to Patagonia, make sure to join us live. That would be awesome to have you. You can ask all your questions and just hang out with us for a couple hours. So that's going on the 19th of November.
Okay.
Please join us. We will see
Goodbye.
you then. Patagonia 2024. Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you next week. Follow us on Instagram at Kim and Aaron G.
Okay, goodbye. Goodbye.
Jeez.
Goodbye.